We're going to talk about factoring again, this time using grouping. Grouping is when you'll see, usually this is when you'll see four terms to a polynomial. I have four terms in this polynomial. And this question asks us to find the roots. Finding the roots means we've got to find the factored form, which is exactly what we're talking about, grouping. Before you do anything else, take the model problem down, take down the title, and take down the unit. Once you've done that, now you can resume. What has to happen is that these terms must be ordered in terms of greatest degree polynomial to least. In other words, this is x cubed, squared, x to the first, and x to the 0, meaning there's no x term. It's got to be arranged in this way in order for it to work. The next part is straightforward. We're going to write it again. Draw a line right there, just like so. And the question we're going to begin asking ourselves, so write it first, and then pause, and now listen again. The question we're asking ourselves is, what do these things have in common? When I look at 3x cubed minus 2x squared, what's the most that these two terms have in common? Yes, that's right. The only thing these things have in common is x squared. So write x squared. What's left here? Well, x squared, what's left if I take out squared? Well, that's a 3, and an x is there. And what about here? What is left after I take away x squared? That's right, minus 2. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. What is the most that these two have in common? Yes, 4. 4 is what they have in common. And what does 12x have that 4 doesn't? Right, yeah, exactly. 4 times 3 is 12, so it has 3x. And what does 8 have that 4 doesn't have? Well, 4 times a negative 2 would give me this 8. Notice what's happened. This is exactly the same as this. If you don't get that, two things have happened. One, you did the greatest common factor wrong. Or two, it's actually not factorable in this way. So, once we get to this step, that's a good thing. That means it's factorable, and we can move on. The next thing is to write, what is this thing in parentheses? Just write it down in parentheses. And I'm going to write a new thing here. So the 3x minus 2 goes here. What goes here? Yeah, nice job. That's right. I'm going to write x squared. And then is this a positive 4 or a negative 4? Yeah, it's positive 4. So I write plus 4. Because I had x squared of these, and then I added 4 of these. I had x squared of 3x minus 2, and I'm adding 4 3x minus 2. I still have to set it equal to 0, and that's right. Pause it after you find the roots. Unpause it. Pause it. Have you found the roots? Good. So I had one root is 2/3, and then I had two more roots. That's square root. Yeah, you have to have two roots. Plus or minus the square root of a negative 4. That's the same thing as plus or minus, do you remember that thing? Yeah, square root of 4 is 2i. Yeah, square root of plus or minus 2i. But here's the thing. For whatever reason, we don't care about imaginary numbers right now. I wish we did. We just don't. We don't have time to care about them. So we're only going to record the real roots. That means the roots that don't have an I. So the only root like that is x equal to 2/3. Now, there's another problem to do. It's a practice problem so you can practice this technique. Pause the video, take it down. You can unpause this again each time you get stuck, but only if you're like for real stuck. Otherwise, you should be just cruising through. If you were following along the first time, you would have recollected that I said it had to be ordered from greatest to least, which is what I've done in the first step. I've reordered this. It won't work without me doing that. If you're unpausing now, it means you've done the work of finding the factored terms. You found the greatest common factor from each side. You've split it in half. Okay. So you split it in half, you found 3a squared over here, and then you didn't find a number here. Well, what's actually there? Yeah, that's right. A positive 1 is actually there. So when we write out our factored form, we have 4a minus 3. And what goes in these parentheses? Very good. 3a squared, and that's plus 1. Okay. Set them equal to 0. You've got to find the roots. Find the roots. Oh, yeah, you can see one. Okay, so that you got that root. You also got another set of imaginary roots, plus or minus the square root of a negative 1/3. We don't count that. We only care about this positive 1 that came from this term, a positive 3/4. That's our solution. Well done.